Yes, I'm trying to find a friend who says we just spoke.
Today presenting will be Becky Watson. She's the founder and owner of Wellness, a company that provides programs and services for enriching the mind, body, and spirit.
Can I walk by there?
Being one of the few women Navy captains, Becky has always been passionate about supporting the health and healing of veterans and older adults who are community members. Raised on a farm in Kansas, she earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Economics at Bethany College and an MBA from Troy State in Norfolk, Virginia. She is a recipient of the Social Venture Award during Cities and Institute of Veteran and Military Families. Realizing Your Dream Business Competition for Veterans, Entrepreneurial Award from the Still Hope Foundation that inspires and empowers the women in Norfolk, and a semifinalist for the Innovate Her Business Plan Competition in Norfolk, Virginia. She is also a dynamic presenter and speaker at a national and local conferences and a guest lecturer at Eastern State Virginia Medical School of Gerontology and Old Dominion University. Becky lives in Norfolk, Virginia with her husband Rod, retired Navy officer, and their 2 children. Becky Watson. Also presenting today is Dr. Paul Aravich. He is a behavioral health neuroscientist and professor of pathology, anatomy, geriatrics, and physical medicine and rehabilitation at Eastern Virginia Medical School in Norfolk. He is the recipient of an Alpha Omega Alpha Glazer Distinguished Teacher Award from the National Academy Medical Honor Society and the Association of American Medical Colleges, and is the recipient of Virginia State Council of Higher Education Outstanding Faculty Award, which is the highest honor for faculty in Virginia for teaching, research, and services. So we've got a lot of credentials and a lot of great things are going to happen today. So welcome, Dr. Aravich and Becky Watson. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I am so excited to be here today. My name is Becky Watson. As Tiffany said, I'm a board-certified music therapist. So what does that mean? I bring the joy of music to make us feel better. I have a music therapy degree from Loyola, and part of that degree is using music to reach non-musical goals. I did my internship at Eastern State Hospital, and that was when I realized how much I loved working with older adults. To see how music enriched their lives, to redirect, it could decrease their stress, increase and energize them at the same time. So, back to you, Boomwhacker. You get to use your hands. Yeah, like this. So I'm going to facilitate a Boomwhacker activity for about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'm going to turn over to Dr. Aravich, and he's going to not dissect our brains, but he's going to dissect what happens in our brain when we engage in music. Just like we saw that TEDx video before the presentation, music engages all parts of the brain. It doesn't matter, as our brains change, we can still enjoy music, and that's what I see with my practice today. So what we're going to do, I'm going to get away from the mic. From now on, this is going to be me in the middle here, and we're going to do some Boomwhackers. And I have a little red wave down there. So for big red, let's get her.
take over and welcome Dr. Aravich. Thank you so much. That great. Madeline, actually, say a few words for us. We have Madeline. Say a few words.
There's a seat, the second row down there.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Natalie Chestnut. I'm here in
No, I know. You're saving the seat.
Dementia has been very generous with her time and coming over and teaching our students how to appreciate music therapy. We're delighted to have Dr. Paul Aravich here. For years, our course, Dr. Aravich, and all these endeavors. We are considered excellent. Excellent education for all levels of research and education. Actually, on campus, I'm known as an excellent education. We didn't know you were among royalty this morning, so thank you for that. We are delighted to be here, and without further ado, I'm going to let Dr. Aravich share information about the brain and all kinds of wonderful things that were going on while we enjoyed the Boomwhackers. It sounds terrific, by the way. We were listening to all of the tones, we heard the patterns, we saw how everybody was beginning to develop the rhythm and the skills, and all of these things were affecting the brain. I'm so excited for Dr. Aravich to tell us about the kind of things going on in our brain. And once again, thanks Becky for a great job.
Thank you very much. I'm going to follow on retired Captain Watson's presentation. If you don't mind, I'll just call her Captain Watson. I'm not going to call her Becky. Give her some significant sign of respect. I don't know about you guys, but being a Navy captain is a pretty big deal, so we're going to call her Captain Watson. All right, the brain and the mind are the same thing. In modern neuroscience, we do not distinguish the brain from the mind. They're the same thing. And so the way Becky, Captain Watson did her performance, the way your brains are activated, first, we have a human brain here inside the human skull. There's nothing spooky or gross about the human brain. The human brain is a miracle. This particular brain came from an older woman who gave her brains to the Anthropos Gift Act, Commonwealth of Virginia, so that others may learn. We're talking about a great distinction gift here. But from that perspective, let's talk about what Captain Watson first initiated by way of the music in the brain. First of all, she gave you some instructions. This count will do this. And so that's called the executive network of the brain. The executive network of the brain is the front and the side of the brain. The front and the side of the brain was what was originally activated by way of her initial instructions to you. Not one particular center, not one particular area, but a global network of structures that include stuff in the front and stuff on the side. Then what happened is, after you sort of figured out what you were doing, it became fun and rewarding. And that particular part of the brain, the reward area of the brain, is a very complicated network, but I'll show you parts of the brain here. I have a half a brain. Who has half a brains? Politicians and administrators. What I have here is inside deep, way down deep inside the brain, we have the reward circuitry. So whatever gives you pleasure gives you a reward. And when I ask people what gives them pleasure, and they say nothing gives them pleasure, we feel really bad, don't we? People have a pleasureless life. Everyone gets pleasure. You can fire this by way of music. You can fire this by way of dance. You can fire this by way of ping pong. You can fire this by way of hot fudge sundaes. And everybody is thinking, but afraid to say it, yes, you fire it with sex as well. So this is an important area for reward. And when things get to be fun, this particular part of the brain lights up. Now, when you're practicing your violin as a 10-year-old kid and your parents are on your case, that may not be fun, and that indeed can drive the kid away from the instrument itself. But once you get past the mechanical aspects, the executive function aspects, then it becomes very rewarding. This is the salience network of the brain. It has a whole bunch of parts. Some of them are labeled here. There's a whole bunch of other parts. And then, what happened? After you learned through the executive network, and then you got the reward and the fun that came through where these pins are here, and yes, alcohol fires this, and yes, cocaine fires this. Call me stupid, but I could fire this with alcohol, which is the most costly drug in America. I could fire it with alcohol, which is the most violent drug in America. And pretty much every politician you voted for yesterday has no clue that alcohol is a drug, does not know that alcohol is the most violent of all the drugs, way more so than cocaine. But let me just say, you can also fire with these Boomwhackers. Now, you ask me, a boomwhacker way of firing this is a much more effective way than drinking and getting drunk and domestic abuse and killing people on the highway. And so this is the salience network that got fired. And then finally, we got way down deep inside ourselves as it was rhythmic and you were getting into a zone and you were forgetting about your troubles. Way down in the middle of the front is this default network. If you look at jazz musicians who play a keyboard mechanically and look at the functional imaging of the brain, this particular part of the brain, down deep in the middle, does not light up, is not activated. But if you ask them with functional imaging to go into an improvisational jazz piece where they go off and they get lost, it's this deep down in the middle center part of the brain that lights up. We think this is an important part where identity is, autonomy, who we are. You get lost in yourself after you start whacking on those boomwhackers for a while. So we went through the executive network, then the salience network, and then really importantly, the default network. And for the most part, elements of the salience network and portions of the default network are protected until the end stages of Alzheimer's disease ends. You can use music and art interventions in persons with advanced dementia, and there's some increasing evidence showing the benefits of these kinds of art interventions. I'm a board member of Tidewater Arts Outreach. That's 200 regional artists, poets, magicians, dancers who go to nursing homes and so on to bring the joy of music to individuals. We just completed a study at Westminster Canterbury in Virginia Beach looking at music as well as its combination with social enrichment on persons with advanced dementia to see if we could reduce the use of antipsychotic medication for challenging behavior. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services have a mandate out that we have to reduce by 30% the use of antipsychotic medications for people with dementia and other problems in long-term care facilities who are acting out. If they live with you at home, you end up sometimes being afraid for yourself or others. You call the sheriff, and they get arrested and so on. Challenge behavior is a very big thing. Are there other ways to manage challenging behaviors than by pharmacological restraints? And so we wanted to test that hypothesis, and our data are looking pretty promising. We haven't finished analyzing the data, but the social enrichment seem to be reducing, we think, at least tentatively, the use of antipsychotics. So the study we're going to be putting together in the next month is going to be another randomized controlled trial, but in this instance it won't be social enrichment guided with computer that includes music and other stuff. It'll be almost entirely music, and we're going to see whether or not that music intervention with persons who have advanced dementia does indeed reduce challenging behaviors, and instead of having them in a dehumanized environment, having them in a more enriched, humanized environment. That's pretty much my story. I don't have a clue. Every auditorium really should have a clock, so the speaker has a clue what time it is. I have no clue. Oh, it's only 5 after. All right, great. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got 10 minutes left. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, now I can take questions. So the more there is an awareness of a problem, the more you start looking for it, the more you start diagnosing the problem. So that's one explanation. We have people who... So the question is, why is there more dementia? Well, first of all, it's like autism spectrum longer now than ever. So the rapid expansion of older persons is another explanation for why we have a greater prevalence of dementia in general, including Alzheimer's dementia. The issues that relate to this explosion of the geriatric population, this becomes very much a women's health issue. That is to say, women are more likely to have Alzheimer's than men. Used to be thought, well, they live longer than men, but we're thinking there's some other features that are going on here. One of the things that the literature is suggesting, strength of evidence, please remember, you read coffee can kill you, and then the next day you read coffee is the best thing since sliced. It needs to be much more strengthened. The database for music therapy, art therapy, dance therapy, we need more rigorous, randomized, placebo-controlled trials. With all read in the newspaper, strength of evidence, get conflicting stuff. The strength of evidence for what Becky Watson is doing, all kinds of measures, including biological outcome measures, to make them full citizens, because otherwise, guess what my medical students do? They come from biology and chemistry backgrounds. They don't know stuff outside of biology and chemistry, and so all they think they can do to treat people is to do gizmos, gadgets, and medications. And it turns out there's a whole lot of psychosocial enrichment. I know of no better way to enrich the human brain than what Captain Watson was doing. I know of no better way to enrich the human brain than the arts. The arts are inherently humanizing. They're humanizing for all of us. Other questions? Sure. This person was under general anesthesia, singing, and she wanted to know why she was singing while she was underneath general anesthesia. You were at that stage intoxicated, ma'am, and had we used alcohol instead, you would put a different spin on it, but basically you're not in the same zone that you otherwise were in. And you know what, that might have been okay if you were singing, right? I think that was okay. Because if you don't sing, you might cry. If you don't dance, you might otherwise not dance. Remember the old Gaelic proverb? It goes something to the effect, dance as if no one is looking, sing as if no one can hear, and love as if you've never loved before. Yeah, I say it's okay to sing, even if you can't sing, like me, I can't sing. Other questions? You can look at my TEDx talk on pretty much what I was doing now. You can Google that on the web if you wish. Yes, ma'am. Oh, please, thank you for asking that question. This is a problem with the Alzheimer's Association. It's as if the only dementia that's out there is Alzheimer's. I'm on the board of the Southeastern Virginia chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. I argue regularly that it should be called the Alzheimer's and related dementias advocacy group. There are lots of other forms of dementia. And for example, this afternoon, the reason I have to leave early is because we have a whole bunch of persons with Parkinson's disease and Huntington's disease that I'm looking into my medical students. And a significant fraction of Parkinson's persons will have dementia, and virtually all persons with Huntington's will have dementia. But they don't know they could use the Alzheimer's resources because it's not Alzheimer's dementia, it's a different kind. So they don't know about the resources that are available through the local chat. There's a nomenclature problem. Not all dementia is Alzheimer's. It's the most prevalent of the irreversible, but the most prevalent of all dementias is a reversible one due to polypharmacy, because your primary care physician doesn't know what the nephrologist is doing, who doesn't know what the pulmonologist is doing, and so on and so forth. Now, you can be opposed to the Affordable Care Act, or you can love the Affordable Care Act. But one of the great things about the Affordable Care Act is the requirement of a prescription reconciliation approach. That is to say, once a year, your primary care person is supposed to go through every med and figure out, is this, you're supposed to be on this or you're not supposed to be on it. It's a great question. Dementia is much bigger than Alzheimer's. Maybe Captain Watson would want to stand up too if you have some questions for her in the 5 minutes that we have left. When you say what brings about the violence, we talk about the challenging behavior?
Yes.
We don't really know, except to say a little thing, for example, like a bladder infection can cause a person who's nonverbal, doesn't know where they are, can't express themselves in any other way. A little thing like a bladder infection can cause them to express that pain that they're in a very negative way. And so I try not to look at behavior. I'm always trying to think about the underlying causes of the behavior. We need to teach people about distractions and diversions and positive behavioral controls. And so, for example, if a guy is hitting people in a nursing home, what's the first thing we're going to do? Dope him up. But if you map out his behavior and you find out that he only hits people during the day while he's sitting on a couch with the sun in his eyes, guess what the solution to that problem is? Close the blinds. Close the blinds.
I'd like to add to that. Can you hear me? Okay. One of the contracts I provide services for is at the Williamsburg Pavilion, and they have a geriatric psych hospital there. I provide services there once a week. And music therapy is very effective for that exact case. Some people may be very agitated, and it can find out, it could be sitting in the sun, it could be they could have tight pants, they need to go to the bathroom, it could be something that can be modified or changed. And what I see when I go there once a week is music has a dramatic effect on redirection, or sometimes energizing, or sometimes help them from their depression. So that's the advantage of music with a human contact, is that it really makes a huge difference.
But the problem is we teach our MDs, our medical students, pretty much the pharmaceutical and, as I mentioned earlier, the gizmo gadget kind of approach. And Maslow says if you're a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. And so what we have to do is bring people like Captain Watson, are you ready for this? To help teach our medical students that there are other ways to take care of problems besides gizmos, gadgets, and medications.
I'd like to be on your staff. I'm coming in.
1 o'clock this afternoon in the home. 1 o'clock this afternoon, forgot to check. 1 o'clock this afternoon in the home to be available. Got a whole bunch of people there, and 200 med students. Got a question here for Captain Watson. I'll try to look for you. How many instruments do you play?
How am I doing? I play a lot. My favorite instrument is the piano. I was classically trained in the piano, played when I was 5 years old, and then added the clarinet when I was in 5th grade, added the organ in high school because our church organist was getting a little bit old and frail, so they needed some organists. So high school I played organ. I went to college the first time as a business degree, a music degree, but loved business as well. So I ended up dropping music, finishing business, and this is Kansas now, back in the 80s, and I went off that farm in Kansas. So what better way to get off the farm than join the Navy? So after I joined the Navy, I discovered music therapy, able to work through music therapy program while I was in the Navy after 25 years. But after I retired, I also played clarinet, guitar, and my passion really, besides the piano, is drums and rhythm. Rhythm is so primal. We are biologically wired for rhythm. First sound we hear in our mother's utero is the heartbeat, because our hearing is the first sense to be developed. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Aravich, but we're hearing our heartbeat of a mother before we're even born. That's why it's so comforting, even at the end of stage near death, to have that voice or the heartbeat. So
oh my God, she's talking about hospice care. We wouldn't want to talk about hospice because we don't want to talk about death and dying. Let's talk about some stupid reality TV show. Let's not talk about humanizing the dying process here. And if I'm an older person and I never learned to play the piano like Captain Watson did as a younger person, I guess I can't learn to play the piano when I'm 70 or 80 or 90. Is that right? No, lose me that of blue cheese. You can learn to do just about anything, just about any time. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Grayson. I'm Fort Worth, I'm steering in Newport Music. And I just wanted to mention...
So we have a clinician, doctor, as an MD clinician? A dentist.
And I'm actually at this meeting at 11:45, connection between oral disease and disease of the rest of the body. And we have a significantly intensive amount of scientific research pointing to periodontal disease or gum disease, contributing to Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And it is very robust research.
So the comment is that dental disease is correlated with Alzheimer's disease, but how does that relate to music? Are you telling me if I play the clarinet?
I agree. Thank you for being on board, and I appreciate your work. I've been over TA over the years. And very different.
Right. So indeed, part of the problem with dental hygiene is it's a fabulous example of access to care or the lack thereof. And so if you don't have good dental hygiene, oftentimes there's a lot of other stuff going on. If you go to far southwest Virginia, for example, that's not unlike Swaziland. There are parts in the land of Jefferson not unlike Swaziland. Life expectancy is declining. Dental hygiene with a remote area medical volunteer corps is one of the big programs that they have. Excuse me, we've got the best healthcare system on earth. I'm sorry, you're from Mars or you're from Venus. We can agree to disagree on how to fix it. But access to care, not just dental care, but access to care is a pretty important thing. We also have not the best healthcare system in the world, but the most expensive. Where can we put arts and music and dance and all of that stuff and get away from the gizmos, the gadgets, and the pharmaceuticals to the extent that it's possible? We got to do something. I think people like Captain Watson deserve a lot of credit out there shaking the tree, trying to say there's a better way.
Okay, on that note, Dr. Aravich, thank you for those great comments and compliments. Our time is up. Those 10 minutes went by really fast. As we close today, again, thank you for the volunteers for helping with all the Boomwhackers. Thank you, Dr. Aravich and Madeline, for bringing in the science and the brains, literally. We have a handout. It's to take with you. First page is about music in the brain. It's a picture of the brain. And on the back, it has the impact of music on the brain. So Madeline has those. Make sure you grab one of those. And also, we have testimonials. If you'd like to give a comment, we have those in the back. This is for basically for Dr. Aravich and for myself. We've never done this together before. If you like this format, if you like more, let us know. I'd love to share more. Again, this is really the first time we've really done something together, but interactive, yet engaging, and then the science behind it. So with that, I really do appreciate it. I'm going to turn the microphone back over to Tiffany. Thanks